What was the basis upon which the safety officers present had decided? Why did they think Mr. Zach was a potential suicide? What was the basis for that?
With the initial call that was received via the 911 system was the report of someone attempting suicide. So the way the call came in, the way it went out, and the way it was dispatched was an attempted suicide in progress.
And what was the basis then, if that was what they thought, what's the basis for surmising, because most of the testimony here tonight is that he wasn't a violent person, what's the basis for surmising he might have been violent?
Again, my report never says that he was violent. It says there was a potential for violence, and that not necessarily specific to this individual, but any individual attempting suicide has the potential for violence, and that comes with the training associated with negotiations and dealing with people in that situation.
So in other words, it doesn't necessarily reflect the judgment about this individual. It's the custom and practice that someone who's already, whether or not you got it right, that you think someone is suicidal, that since they're already in this kind of extremist mindset, that they could do things that are erratic and would harm somebody.
Correct.
Okay. What does that mean, though, from the point of view of trying to get close enough to speak to him? Because a lot of people talked about that.
Well, I mean, that was the thing that needed to be done in terms of the ideal response was to initiate. Again, I reflected this was a suicide-type call as opposed to a water rescue call. And the earlier on that they could make contact with him, someone in a position of authority offering to help, offering him a rescue buoy or something to hold on to would have been the ideal methodology for dealing with this case, as opposed to someone just marching in and trying to drag him out of the water. The appropriate thing to do was to initiate that offer to help, initiate that communication, and as you initiate that communication, you can then assess, get a little better assessment of the person's mental condition. Are they resistant to you? Do they appear to be resistive? Are they showing any physical signs of the conditions out there? Are their lips turning blue because the water's cold? Are they having difficulty breathing? So you make an assessment, and once you have that initial contact, that offer to help in that assessment, then you make your next logical steps.